Well, I know I said I was gonna do pre-recorded videos, but got a lot of stuff going on today, so I really don't have time, and I really want to talk about what is going on. There will be a live stream tomorrow at 10 a.m. That is all I'm saying about that. That's gonna be huge. But, yep. My name is John Crump, and I am a writer, and I'm currently nominated for a Gundy for Best 2A Writer. I would appreciate it if you guys head over to thegundys.com and vote for me for Best 2A Writer of the Year. I would really, really love to win that award. Today, we're going to be talking about a decision out of the Second Circuit. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals for the United States of America deals with states like New York. In this case, is a New York case. This case is NSSF versus James for the AG of New York. Let's go ahead and get into it. Yes, Thursday will be a big day at the Supreme Court. It possibly, but let's go ahead and talk about this case, which is NSSF versus James. NSSF sued James uh, James in the state of New York because they have a law. The law says that gun companies can be held liable for actions taken by the owners of those firearms. They say they can do this because the way that guns are advertised and marketed to the people. They're not marketed to the people as anything good. They're marketed as the evil ring of power. And therefore, New York can sue the gun companies for violating New York nuisance laws. Now, to you and me, that might sound like a clear violation of PLACA. PLACA is the Protection of Lawful Arms in Commerce Act. So how does this not violate it? I think it does. But when NSSF went to a district court judge, the district court judge found for the state of New York and said New York can go ahead and violate PLACA because of the way they're being advertised. Now, to me, that also sounds like it might be a First Amendment issue as well. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy in his basement. What the NSSF did was appeal this to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. It went to judge panel to the Second Circuit. The Second Circuit is not as bad as the Fourth or Ninth Circuit on the Second Amendment, but they are still pretty bad. The three-judge panel ruled in favor of New York and affirmed the district court's finding that it does not violate PLACA or the Constitution to allow states to sue gun manufacturers and gun companies for being a nuisance because of crimes committed with their items and the items that they make. Of course, this was outrageous because this seems to be a clear violation of PLACA. So the NSSF, what they did was file for something called an en banc hearing. An en banc hearing is where the full bench hears the case. In most circuits, that's 16 judges, which is the full bench, with the Ninth Circuit being an exception because they have so many judges. They're en banc is like 11 judges, and it depends on who makes up the sitting panel as to which way they go. So what happened was when they applied for an en banc, the court reviewed it. Now let's talk about an en banc. An en banc is a request. An en banc is not a right. There is no right that guarantees you an en banc hearing. The courts can say, well, we decide that we don't want to give you an en banc hearing. We think the panel's decision was enough and we're not going to give it to you. If an en banc is granted, the panel's decision is vacated. It's like it's never happened. It's like game replay, I guess, a do-over. But in this case, the full bench decided that they are not going to grant an en banc hearing to the NSSF, which means the panel decision stays. So the panel decision is in effect for everyone. Uh, Go ahead, ask me a question. So panel decision is in effect for everyone. Now, uh, NSSF, uh, what they can do is they can go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court can decide to grant what's called a writ of certiorari. A writ of certiorari is basically just a petition to the court to take up the case. And I have a feeling that the Supreme Court will take off this case because what will happen here is if this is allowed to stay, it really undermines PLACA, and PLACA has no force of law. So I do believe that the Supreme Court is going to grant certain, but it's going to take a while. Basically, they will apply for a writ of certiorari. It will get sent to conference probably in the springish time. Then, if it is granted cert, which is not a guarantee, but I do believe that it will be granted cert, then the Supreme Court will take up the case sometimes next fall, and we are looking at a decision probably sometime uh, spring of 2027 before we get anything back. But I do believe that this will get taken up by Supreme Court because, yeah, that's it. All right, guys. So just wanted to let you know what's going on. This is a bad decision, but we can definitely look forward to this going to the Supreme Court because it it will settle this once and for all. There's a bunch of different states that are trying these nuisance laws, and moreover than that, there is also a bunch of localities trying these nuisance laws to try to shut down gun companies. All right, guys, that's it. There is a question here. Doesn't CRS get out soon? Yep. Tune in tomorrow, and I will go ahead and we'll be talking about that around 10 a.m. tomorrow morning about when it gets out and everything else. This case is NSSF versus James. And I really want to encourage you to head over to thegundies.com and vote for me for best 2A writer. I have a lot of articles I've written, thousands of articles over on MLN.com. Several books I've written as well. You can go ahead and check those out. I would definitely appreciate a win, and that would be good for everyone. And while you're at it, go ahead and vote for DLD After Dark for Micro Influencer of the Year. He really deserves that. He's worked his ass off for the last few years, and he deserves some recognition as well. So DLD After Dark, vote for him as well. All right, guys, that is it. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. over on Rumble, 5 p.m. Eastern over on Rumble. Dark will be our guest today, and yep, that's it. All right, thank you guys so much for voting, and everyone. I'm sure you're not Night Strike. You're not familiar. And I'll see you on 5 o'clock. If you don't see you at 5 o'clock, I'll be back at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Trust me, that stream is going to be off the hook, and there's going to be a lot of eyes on that stream. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.